Hello everyone, Mr. MC here, back with another racing-ish video here on Gran Turismo 7, where we're taking a look at the recent lap time challenge, and this is with the Toyota GR Yaris at Catalunya Rallycross layout. If you want to see the lap guide that I recently made for it, feel free to check it out in the description down below. But with this one, this was after I made the lap guide, and I was thinking about it for a while, and I decided, you know what, we're pretty close to the 45-second range, so I decided, you know what, we're gonna see if it is possible for me to reach that time range. So with this one, we're gonna unfortunately jump back into the vortex and see if we can make that happen. And yes, I am still doing it on the controller. We're gonna go ahead and start our lap time challenge sessions. And I think this was about a day or two after I made the lap guide, so I'm gonna be a little bit on the rusty side, which is not surprising at all. So with this one, I'm trying to get a feel for this combination again, especially on the controller. With the controller, I have the settings a bit weird because I have the haptic feedback turned off and I have the controller vibration turned off. I know, it's really weird, so I feel no feedback for some stupid... Oh yeah, actually I know why now. It's to make the batteries last a bit longer on the controllers. So that's why I turned off all the vibration settings. But anyways, here I'm just trying to get a feel for this combination again because it has been a bit of time. And yeah, initially I was thinking, you know what, I think I'm done with this, but because we have that one person that can magically jump the record times, I decided no, we're gonna go for the 45. So that first lap was a 47.6 second lap time, which I'm about 1.5 seconds off of my personal best, so we have quite a bit of work to do, unfortunately. So it's just a matter of trying to see where I can improve, trying to get a better feel for the car, trying to be smoother with my inputs. I noticed that here in this long right turn I tend to be a bit jerky with the inputs, and we're gonna hit the barrier. That barrier is especially annoying to deal with, and I ended up hitting it so many times. It's terrible. Same goes with the barrier that's at the very last apex. That one is especially annoying to deal with. But we're gonna keep going, gonna see if we can try to improve, but we're gonna go ahead and get a terrible turn right here. Just sliding around way too much, and that sliding just ends up hurting my momentum and cut off track and hit the barrier again. Let's go. So we're gonna go ahead and just restart this because yeah, that was terrible. So we're gonna go ahead and jump back in, and this was a bit of time later, so here I was starting to get a slightly better feel for this combination, trying to get a good feel for how much throttle input I should be using to try to limit the amount of sliding so I can start to gain speed right away, especially for the exit of the turn. This double left-hander, pretty painful to nail down because you have to handbrake it just right through those corners and get the car putting where you want to go as soon as you can without going way too wide. I'm going through this chicane, gonna try to go through it, but unfortunately right here I'm just barely going to poke out of track limits, so go just a bit too deep into the grass, and that's going to invalidate my lap time. So yeah, that chicane is pretty painful to deal with. There's quite a few times where I poked too deep into that apex and got my lap time invalidated that way. And it's especially annoying when you're on a really good run and you poke a bit too deep into that turn in, and there goes your lap right there. So here, okay, getting a much better, never mind, tap the wall on the right. So we're gonna see if we're gonna try to get a better turn. We were working on it right there, we were making it work, but just turned just a bit too much to the right. There we go. Now getting a much better turn, sort of better turn. It wasn't as good as the other one, but we'll take it. So just gonna be careful to here. Just poke on the handbrakes, get really close to the barrier, and here we're on a really good run now. So that was a beautiful exit out of the double left-hander. Now for this long left turn, I actually have trouble trying to trail brake through this corner with my controller. So what I do, I just handbrake it through that turn. So that's my trail braking. and it surprisingly works. Here we go, getting ready to finish the lap and get a decent exit, and we're already at a 46.6. So we're starting to make things work a bit, but now we just have to try to get closer to the personal best of a 46.2. That last lap you saw was a 46.7, so we're getting a bit consistent, but we still need to improve it. Another 46.7, so the consistency is there. We just need to get better. So here we go, going through this jump, and unfortunately I was way too aggressive there, going between the cones and go straight into the wall. So that's not going to work at all. So we're going this run, going to see if we can try to go through the chicane as fast as we can. And not the best, but we'll keep going with it. Brake for the final corner, but accidentally braked just a bit too soon, turned in a bit too soon, and hit the barrier right there. And it's going to be like this for a while, where I'm getting close to getting a decent time, and right here on a pretty good run, but just turning just a little too much and just hit the barrier. And that was especially frustrating because I was right there with my ghost. And for those wondering, I do have the ghost offset by 0.2 of a second. So typically whenever I'm inside my ghost, I'm about 0.1 of a second up, and once I get just ahead of the ghost, I'm 0.2 of a second up. So here, getting a much better chicane. I just need to make sure that I don't bin it at the very end of the turn, or the lap I mean. And there we go, right there, getting a 46.301. So we're just 0.004 of a second off of my personal best. So we're pretty much where we left off when I made the lap guide, and just barely grazed a stupid barrier and get my lap time invalidated. So that one was especially frustrating. But we're gonna go ahead and get ourselves set up for the lap. And yes, you do have to do this or reverse as close as you can to the wall and then start from there, because if you don't do that, you're losing up to 0.4 of a second by not doing that. So yeah, you're gonna have to do that, because I mean, that's free time right there, free time shaved off. I mean, why not take it? So here, gonna try to be careful with the handbrake maneuver, and that was a little bit wide, but we're still ahead of the ghost, so we're doing pretty good there. And now I just need to make sure that I don't mess it up here at this long left turn. Here, this was a pretty easy turn for me to mess up, because I always ended up not steering enough or just understeering, and really, yeah, playing it pretty risky with that chicane. Just gonna try to get back on the throttle as soon as I can, and right there, we're going to finally improve our lap time now to a 46.264. And here we're going to get ready to improve our lap time again. What time am I gonna get? 46.242. So we're slowly chipping off the time, and unfortunately, if it's gonna be like this, it's gonna be a while before I can get the 45-second lap. And you're playing it really risky there, almost hitting the barrier, but I end up just barely grazing that barrier, and that invalidates my lap time. Any collision you do will invalidate your lap time, so you can't even graze the barriers, can't graze a cone, none of that. And there, okay, I'm gonna be honest, there I don't know what happened. The car just decided, you know what, I don't feel like turning, and ended up in the grass that way. So now let's go ahead and check in with our favorite barrier, because I'm going to go ahead and hit it like a complete idiot. So I'm going to go ahead and see if we can try to improve our lap time. We're up there with the ghost, nice and careful with the apex right there, and go down to a 46.211. So slowly chipping off a bit more time. Going to try to see if we can improve a bit more, maybe even poke into the 46.1s. Best case scenario, get a magic lap and get a 45, but who knows. Gonna brake for this final corner. Try to be careful getting back on the throttle to reduce the amount of wheel spin. And there we go, 46.193. So doing really good so far. Now I just need to somehow get a 45, which is gonna be a bit of a tall order, especially for me. And don't forget, I am doing this on the controller. The reason why I'm doing it on the controller, and there you go, getting a 46.1. The reason why I'm doing this on the controller is because when it comes to me doing the rally related stuff, so either dirt or snow on the wheel, at least in Gran Turismo 7, my pace is hopeless. So I didn't even bother getting the wheel out for this, and I decided, you know what, I'm just going to do this on the controller. And it did have some of its own challenges. I think it's the double left-hander that we just went through, and the final hairpin, and a long left-hander, where it was a bit challenging to try to get the car to do what you want it to do, at least on the controller. I don't know what it's like on the wheel, but yeah, it felt a bit harder to get the car to turn, so you had to rely a bit more on the handbrake. Especially on the long left turn, I had to really rely on the handbrake to try to get the thing to turn. But we've slowly chipped down the time down to a 46.151, so we're doing pretty good. This barrier on the right felt neglected, so I went ahead and gave it some love and invalidated my lap time. And here, yeah, invalidated my lap time right there, tapped the wall on the left, and I was starting to think, like, I wonder if it's possible to hit a 46.0 or even just poke into the 45s before I go to sleep, because at this point it was getting pretty late. Luckily this weekend, I think this is the first weekend where I had very little to do, so I was like, you know what, might as well just go ahead and do this up to challenge. I mean, why not? But here, being a bit aggressive through that right turn and trying to get this double left-hander turn nailed down, and we are a bit inside the ghost, so there is potential to improve our lap time, but just by a little bit. And just being careful with the handbrake there, try to get the car to rotate around that long left turn here. Yeah, that was a bit aggressive, but we are still inside the ghost. Can we improve our lap time? And it's gonna go down to a 46.052, so damn close to poking into the 45. So a 45 is inedible, but now at this point, can we make it happen? At least make it happen tonight. But here, just a bit too aggressive with the sliding, and that did cost us time, but still it went down to a 46.050. So now we're just barely chipping off time at this point. Gonna go ahead and check in with that barrier to let them know that I'm still doing okay. And here, just trying to be a bit careful with that chicane. Really easy to poke a bit too deep. And gonna try to get a good exit out of the final turn and improve to a 46.040. And it's getting frustrating now because that 45 is there, but now I'm not chipping off enough time to poke into the 45s. But I am getting pretty tired, as it is 2 in the morning when I was recording this bit. And unfortunately, what could have been a really good lap time right there was not made possible because a random barrier got in the way. But still, we've made quite a bit of improvement and decided, you know what, I'm going to sleep this off. We'll wake up in the morning and keep going at it. Hello everyone, Mr. MC here. Oh wait, I already did that intro. So woke up in the morning and realized that the world record time improved by 1/10 of a second. So that made me feel a bit nervous. Sort of. I don't know. I'm just not taking chances with this lap time challenge. I want to try to improve my time as much as I can. I think a 45 should be 100% safe. So if I can get that 45, then I shouldn't have to worry about this lap time challenge ever again. So the good thing was that when I started doing this lap time challenge for today, when I was recording this, I was able to get back up to pace pretty quickly. Normally it takes a while for me to get myself back up to pace, but that was not the case this time around, where it just took me like an hour to start doing 46 ones and stuff like that. Now this one, it took me a few minutes. So I was pretty happy about that. So no messing around, no lollygagging. It's time to try to see if we can improve our lap time, and here we go. So right away, getting a 46.023. So we are chipping off a bit of time. Unfortunately, it's not more time that I'm chipping off, but we're just going to keep going at it. If we keep improving like this, then a 45 is definitely going to happen. And I don't know why the PS5 was doing that little bit of freeze whenever I started a lap or started a session. I think that PlayStation was just fed up with me doing this combination, and I don't blame it. And I think this session overall was just me doing a lot of that shenanigans, a lot less messing around, because it's at this point where I know I can do a 45. I just need to really focus down and just make it happen. Just, handbraking my way through this long left turn, and just gonna be careful through here. And I was a bit careful there, so that did cost me a bit of time, but it is going to be this final corner where I am going to make up a bit of time and just be just shy of getting a 45. So now I'm at a 46.009. So 45 is inevitable. I should be getting it within the next hour. But what I decided to do, I went ahead and got the webcam set up just to show that I was on the controller. I don't know why I did that, but I guess I just wanted to show, because normally I'm on the wheel, and me doing lap time challenges on the controller is pretty rare, but I wanted to just show that, hey, I was able to do this on the controller. So let's go ahead and show my 45, because this is the lap where I finally get it. So you can see it on the top left hand corner, you can see me in the controller, you can see a cute Ellen Joe just poking out of there. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get the lap started. And for this first braking zone, I was sliding a bit too much, sliding a bit more than I wanted, and I think that there costing me a tenth of a second. So I think a 45.8 is possible for me. But here I'm able to get a pretty decent turn, or a pretty decent exit. Is gonna go ahead and stay towards the left to try to reduce the track distance. Gonna handbrake my way through this long left turn. That's my version of trail braking for this combination, and I'm gonna send it through here, and this is where I noticeably improve my lap time. Gonna send it through the final turn and be really careful getting back on the throttle, and that gives me just enough grip to improve my lap time and go down to a 45.908. So I think that should be safe for gold, I hope, but who knows. But yeah, at this point I was like, you know what, I'm really tired of this. Like, this lap time challenge is pretty damn exhausting, even on the controller, because you have to really focus on not hitting the walls, not poking off track, and trying to make sure that the car is sliding just enough to make it to the turn, but not too much to where you're losing your time. But yeah, but with this 45.908, I was able to get into P22 at the time of recording. So we'll see where this lap time ends up at the very end of this lap time challenge, because there's still, well, just under 2 weeks. We're barely a few days into this lap time challenge, but I might as well just try to get to 45 and hopefully not have to worry about this for the rest of the 2 weeks. And the nice thing is that with this camera, you can see the line I'm taking. You can see how wide I went through there. That could have been a lot better. I think a 45.8, maybe even a 45.7 is possible for me, but at this point I've sunk in so much time and miles into this combination that I just cannot be bothered to go back unless if I absolutely have to. Hopefully it doesn't come down to that, but I think with this I should be safe for gold. And yeah, that was where I improved my lap time right there at the chicane and got a squeaky clean exit at the final turn, being careful on the throttle. And that's going to be it for this video. If you like this video, you can press the like, subscribe, and all the good stuff. But take care, everyone. This is Mr. VCA, and I'll see you in the next video.